Before we begin our discussion of New Orleans, her theme parks, and ultimately the doomed park that was known as Jazzland, I'd like to share with you a short film clip. What you might have missed there was Chris Pratt's charisma, which was nowhere to be found in that clip or in any other clip from the Jurassic World films. What you also might have missed was the New Orleans Jazzland theme park. In 2013, Jurassic World, or as I like to call it, Jurassic World, we should have kept this franchise trapped in amber after the first one, was thrust upon an unsuspecting public and somehow high-heeled its way to over $700 million in domestic box office returns. Something I can only swallow when I remember that, when adjusted for inflation, a movie musical about obnoxious children and nuns outsmarting Nazis while singing about puppets boning made over $1.3 billion. The problem with making a movie about a theme park is that despite the wizardry of modern movie effects, you can't exactly magic a theme park into existence. You have to have at least the bones of a theme park. And that's how the poor bones of Jazzland New Orleans became forever entangled with Jurassic World. Due to generous tax credits offered to production companies in the wake of Hurricane Katrina, Six Flags New Orleans became a popular filming location for everything from Nicolas Cage chase scenes to poorly handled adaptations of middling YA fare, but Jurassic World is certainly the most famous of these productions and the highest grossing. It didn't even have the decency to use the actual theme park infrastructure of Six Flags to their advantage, instead using the spacious and abandoned parking lot as a blank canvas upon which to build the main thoroughfare of Jurassic World. Basically, in a matter of years, the theme park went from this, to this, to this, to this. But before we can talk about the end, we need to go back to the beginning. Believe it or not, New Orleans actually has a long and rich history of theme parks and amusement parks. In the early 1800s, an amusement fairground popular with working-class people of all races opened in West End, complete with a few mechanical wonders, restaurants, and concert grounds. However, with the technical boom at the turn of the 20th century, the amusement park business flourished and New Orleans wanted in. Like most coastal cities of the early 1900s, when Coney Island was a trendsetter in port city entertainment, New Orleans Pontchartrain Lakefront was home to its own waterfront amusement park, which opened as Pontchartrain Beach Amusement Park and was colloquially known simply as Pontchartrain Beach.
Moving on out to Pontchartrain Beach, got my baby by my side. Moving on out to Pontchartrain Beach, got to dig the games and ride.
Opened in the summer of 1928 by a prominent family who made their wealth in ice manufacturing, the park was originally in an area called Old Spanish Fort, named, of course, for the old Spanish fort that used to stand there during the times of Spanish colonization of New Orleans, before the building of the seawall necessitated a move to a new section of the shoreline near Elysian Fields Avenue. With this move, Pontchartrain Beach entered the modern age and became the famous theme park that many New Orleanians still hold fond memories of today. From 1940 until its closure in the fall of 1983, Pontchartrain Beach was a New Orleans icon with dozens of kitschy and thrilling features. Harry Batt, owner of the park and ice manufacturer extraordinaire, used his considerable wealth to travel the world in order to find the most innovative rides to bring back to his theme park. As our friend Stefan says,
needless to say, this place has everything.
Pontchartrain Beach had a beachfront wading and sunbathing area, a Ferris wheel, a bathhouse, Merlin's Magic Rainbow Show, this terrifying mascot, plenty of off-the-shelf haunted houses and mouse coasters, and the Bali Hali House, a sort of predecessor to Ohana at Disney's Polynesian Resort. There was even a series of swimming pools which were used when the lake water was polluted or too rough for regular swimming. The beachfront theater at the center of the park featured circus acts, beauty pageants, and musical performances, including a performance from Elvis Presley himself. With all of these offerings, whether you wanted to be thrilled, spooked, or just go to tap your toes, Pontchartrain Beach had something for you. But looming over Pontchartrain Beach was the Zephyr. For those of you not up on your ancient Greek etymology, Zephyr means a light, gentle breeze. So basically New Orleans' signature theme park attraction for almost 50 years was about as terrifyingly named as Goofy's Sky School. The Zephyr was an old-school wooden roller coaster that, while not as exciting as the wild mouse coasters that populated the park, towered over Pontchartrain Beach and thus became its icon. Guests would wait in line in an Art Deco terminal station before boarding the 4-car trains. 24 riders at a time would ride the 2,300 feet of track, cresting the highest hill at 68 feet tall. Despite the name being about as thrilling as a sip of milk, when New Orleans acquired a AAA baseball team from Denver in 1993, it was such a part of the collective consciousness of the city of New Orleans the team name wasn't changed. The Denver Zephyrs became the New Orleans Zephyrs, a tribute to the famous theme park of New Orleans' past. In 1983, Pontchartrain Beach closed its doors for the final time, a victim of the oil crisis. Ever since that last season, fans of the park have kept an eye on the shore, waiting for it to reopen, a reopening that has never and probably will never happen. However, the closure of Pontchartrain Beach didn't mean the end of New Orleans amusement parks. Though it was the most famous and most heavily visited, most suburbs of New Orleans, including Kenner and the West Bank, had their own smaller amusement parks. However, most of these didn't last much longer than Pontchartrain Beach. However, New Orleans' longest continuously running theme park still exists today and actually predates Pontchartrain Beach.
The City Park Carousel Gardens Amusement Park and Storyland. An enchanted land not so far away, where affordable season passes are just a click away. Imagine family fun and rides for all ages. Spend this summer happily ever after at the City Park Carousel Gardens Amusement Park and Storyland.
At over 100 years old, Carousel Gardens Amusement Park began, very simply, with the addition of a wooden flying horse carousel carved intricately by famous theme park designers Charles Louf and Charles Carmel, to the already popular City Park for its 50th anniversary in 1906. As the carousel drew the attention of local crowds, over the years more rides were added, including my personal favorites, the Giant Slide and the Ladybug roller coaster. What started as a single ride in the middle of an otherwise unremarkable park turned into a seasonal, family-friendly amusement park. With an annual holiday festival of lights, school fundraising nights, Carousel Gardens is a family-friendly amusement park filled with off-the-shelf rides and a secondary kiddie park called Storyville that's themed to fairy tales. This year, they're even debuting a new Halloween horror experience on a small island within City Park, which guarantees to terrify. In some ways, stepping into Carousel Gardens Park, which I do almost every year during Celebration in the Oaks, is like stepping into the past. Not only because the rides harken back to a simpler time, but also because when I ride the carousel or carefully avoid the tilt-a-whirl, I am taken back to my days as a kid, counting tickets with my friends at our school fundraiser night and riding the Ladybug ride with my cousins. To visit Carousel Gardens is like revisiting my childhood. Unfortunately, that's not an experience I get to have when it comes to Jazzland. Jazzland, or Six Flags New Orleans as it was later called, though I swore I would never call it and still to this day refuse to bend to Six Flags' corporate will, has become something of an internet oddity. With the rise of urban exploration and the internet fame one can achieve by sneaking into abandoned places, photographs of Jazzland are nearly as ubiquitous on the internet as cat videos. But the vast majority of people have only seen the after. And in the rest of this 5-part series, I'm going to try and take you to the before. You'll meet people influential in building and designing the original park. You'll explore the acquisition of Jazzland by Six Flags. You'll take a tour around the park as I show you my favorite rides and attractions. You'll hear about the destruction of the park, and ultimately, we'll discuss Jazzland as it stands today and the park's future. But until then, enjoy some 90s nostalgia. I'll see you next time.
You are so lucky, living so close to Jazzland, America's newest major theme park in New Orleans. You could go to Jazzland all you want with a season thrill pass. On sale now at Winn-Dixie at preseason rates from just $54.99 a person. Plus, get a coupon book filled with savings on park food, free admission tickets, and more, a $300 value. Get your season thrill pass now at Winn-Dixie from just $54.99 a person. But buy now, offer ends soon. Get your fill of thrills at Jazzland.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed this first very brief introduction to New Orleans theme parks. I can't wait to dive into Jazzland and Six Flags next time. I have to give a huge shout out to my patrons, JH, Sam, and Colin. Thank you so much, especially to Colin who gave me an idea for my next video. Thank you guys so much. If you like what I do, if you're excited about more theme park history, or you like any of my other pop culture videos, please throw me a few dollars on Patreon. It would go so much to increasing the production value of the projects that I do. Thank you so much. Can't wait to see you next time. Bye.